So we are going to focus on factorization. So today we're going to do the normal factorization, whereby we have to find the common factors of the two numbers in the quadratic formula. So we have that x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0, or you can just put this equal to aside, but for now let's just do it. We're going to say that the number that you multiply must give you 6, but when you add or subtract, must give you 5, right? So on that, we are going to open brackets first, then inside those brackets you must put x and x. Therefore now you have to deal with the common factors. So we need the number that when you multiply gives you 6, and when you add it has to give you 5. Other people can say that the common factor of 6 and the common factor of 5, the number that goes both into 5 and 6. So we have that when you multiply it has to give you 6, but when you add it has to give you 5. We have 3 and 2, right? Because when you multiply 3 by 2 is going to give you 6, but when you add this 2 is going to give you 5, meaning that we have plus here and plus there. These signs are very much important. You have to check first on the equation that you are given. Is it in the middle of this equation? Do you have x squared plus or negative? Check there first. And also this other one, is it negative or positive? Right? So we are done there on that equation. So let's go to another one. Okay. So the other one says that 2 squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0. So when you deal with this guy here, the first statement, when you multiply must give you 6, when you add must give you x, meaning must give you 1, because of the coefficient of x is 1, right? So we are going to say open bracket equal to 0. Therefore you are going to say that the number that you multiply gives you 6, but when you add that number must give you 1. So we have 1 and 6, and we also have what? 2 and 3. So due to this guy here, we are going to focus on the constant number only, right? Because we cannot put x and x and x, then we cannot put 6 and 1, because when you put 6 and 1, it's going to be 6 multiplied by 1 is going to give you 6, but when you add 6 or minus 6, it's going to give you 5 or 7. So that's going to be wrong, right? So meaning that we are going to focus on what? The common factors of 6, the number that goes to 6, that when you multiply them they give you 6, and when you add them they give you 1. Then we have 3 and 2. We have 3 and 2. Therefore the most important stage is when you have to put your signs, because you see on this equation we have 2x minus x minus 6. Therefore this minus could be problems for other people. So you have to say that check your sign first. Usually if it's negative, both are negative, right? Meaning this is negative, this is negative also. You must know that in your bracket you're going to have negative and plus. But if it's plus and plus, therefore you're going to have positive, positive, right? Dependable. So you're going to say that check your highest value. The highest value is 6, right? Our highest value is 6 and our lowest value is 1, which is on X. Therefore we are going to say that our negative, we're going to put negative and negative. First put negative and negative. This is just to be able to control the narrative. So you're going to say that the number that you multiply gives you 6, but when you add must give you 1. So check on the equation that 3, if you put negative on 3, then you put positive on 2, then when you add negative 3 plus 2, does it give you negative 1? Therefore it gives you negative 1. Therefore you know that you must put the positive on 2, on the lowest value, because we want what? We want negative there. Alright, that's very important. On the lowest value, because what? Because we need our X to be negative. You must try to prove that before, right? Yebo. Alright, therefore we are done on that equation. Let's go to another equation. Where it's 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 equal to 0. When you factorize this, you are going to say that because we have 2x squared and we have 7 and 3, you are going to open brackets 2x, then close bracket, open bracket, x, close brackets, right? So let's focus on 3. The number that you multiply, you focus on the constant number, because we have our a on x squared, we have 2x squared. Therefore you have to focus on your constant number when you check the common factors. The number that you multiply must give you 3, right? So here you don't say the number that you multiply must give you 3, when you add must give you 7. You don't do that, because we have 2 there on the coefficient of x squared, right? So you're going to say the number that you multiply is give you 3, then it's only 1 and 3. Remember that, 1 and 3. So because we have all positive, meaning that your signs must be positive, all of them must be positive. Therefore you're going to say, now we are proving this, we are going to say 2x multiplied by x is going to give us 2x squared. Then we're going to say that 2x multiplied by 3, and the 2x multiplied by 3 is going to give us 6x. Therefore we're going to say that 1 multiplied by x is going to give us x, and then 1 multiplied by 3, 1 multiplied by 3 is going to give us 3. Since we know that, put this thing in quadratic order. Then you're going to say, here we are just proving. This step is not necessary when you factorize. We are just proving if you're correct. Therefore you're going to say 2x squared plus 6x plus x plus 3. Therefore, you're going to have 2x squared. Therefore, because of these two guys here are like items of a values, liked values, meaning that those two are the same. Like values, they are the same. It's like twins. Yeah, boy. So like values, we have 6x and x, right? You're going to add them. You add the light values or light items. We're going to say 6x plus x is going to give you 7, therefore plus 3. Let's check from our original equation if this is correct. So this is correct. From our original equation, we have 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. So you must know that, note, this information here is not important. You are just proving that this equation is right. Your factorization is right, correct. Besides that, this is not needed. You can do it aside, right? Unless they tell you to do the reverse factorization, but usually they don't do that. All right. Let's do number 4. Let me cancel that. Let's do number 4. Number 4, we have then 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. So on this guy, as I explained before, that because of 3x squared, we are going to focus on the common factors of negative 2. So we are going to open brackets and put put 3x, then close bracket, then open bracket, put x, then close bracket. Therefore, because usually I like to say when you multiply must give you the constant number, but when you add must give you the coefficient of x. So on this scenario, I'm going to say that the number that you multiply must give you negative 2 or must give you 2, and when we are not going to say when you add, because we have what? We have 3, but makes everything simple on the coefficient of x squared, right? I have to make that clear. So because of this guy here, we are going to deal with negative 2 only inside the bracket. So we're going to say the number that you multiply must give you 2. We have what? We have 2 and 1. So remember that I usually say that I like to put negatives before, because I know that I can control the narrative of negative, meaning that if one of the bracket must be positive, I can easily make it positive, right? So let's check first our signs. So we have 3x squared minus 5x minus 2. So since when we have all these minuses which are in this equation, meaning that one of our bracket must carry positive, meaning one of these guys here, these values must be positive. All right, so you have to check first the middle, your middle value. We have negative 5x, so we have to check that first. So if we check, then we are going to say when you multiply x, 3x multiplied by x, it's going to give us x squared. But when you multiply 3x by 2, it's going to give you 6, right? So let's deal with it. Our sign is going to be controlled by the value when you multiply that and that, right? So when you multiply 3x by 2, it's going to give you 6x, right? Therefore, let's go to the original equation and check what's going on. So on the original equation, we have what? We have negative 5x And then when we multiply when we go to the factorization, when you multiply 3x by 2, you get 6, meaning that now this has to determine where you put your positive, right? All right, and check the sign of that middle guy. So because we need that to be negative, meaning that this guy here, I don't know how will I put that, this guy here must be negative. This one must be negative. Why am I saying that? It has our highest value in the equation. It determines our highest value, meaning that we need what? We need our answer to be negative 5x. So the highest value must be negative, so that when we add the smallest value, therefore we get negative 5x. It doesn't have to overdo our equation. Okay, so meaning that now we focus on this one is an obvious thing, meaning that now we are going to put positive here on the first equation. Why am I doing that? Because I get it now, we have 6, and I said that this must be negative, because when you multiply that 3x multiplied by negative 2, we are going to have negative 6. Since we need this to be negative, meaning that is supposed to be negative, then we have positive here, because we know that when you multiply 1 multiplied by x, because of the light values, we are going to have negative 6. Negative 5. Negative 5x. I hope I've made everything to be easy to understand. All right. In the simplest terms, before I conclude on that, the simplest term is that check the middle number. If the middle number is high, therefore you must know that the highest value inside the bracket must be negative. If only the middle number is high, then the other highest value in the bracket must be negative. Why am I saying that? Because on this guy we have 2. 2 is bigger than 1. Then this guy must be negative because of this narrative of negative 5x, right? Because if you put positive here, therefore we are going to have positive, which if it becomes positive, if we put positive here, we're going to have positive x. Therefore, it's going to control this narrative here. But if we put negative due to that, meaning that the highest value in the bracket must be negative because of this guy here. Because if we put negative, therefore we are going to have negative 6. Negative 6. Then we know that negative 6, we can control it to be negative 5. Therefore, I'm done explaining. Bye. All right, let's go to our 5th equation. This is the last one. On the last equation, we have 4x squared minus 12x plus 2 plus 9 equal to 0. So we are going to say that because of what? Because of this 4, the coefficient of x squared, therefore we are going to focus only on the constant number, on factorizing the constant number, finding the common factors of the constant number. I repeat, because of this coefficient of x squared, we are going to focus on finding the common factors of the constant number. Then open bracket x, meaning that you are going to open bracket, therefore you're going to say 4x then x, then close bracket equal to 0, or you can just forget about that because we're factorizing it. Therefore, you're going to say, I said that we are going to focus on what? On the constant number, finding the common factors of the constant, which is 9. Therefore, the number that we multiply has to give us 9 is 3, right? Then you're going to check now. Let's now check the sign. As I was explaining before, let's check the sign. I said before that you check in the middle. In the middle, we have negative, right? Since, well, we have negative in the middle, meaning that you must check the bracket that has the highest value. So on this guy here, we have 4x and we have 3, right? Then we have other x and we have 3. So let's check the highest value. So because of these guys are the same, 3 and 3 are the same, now let's check the value of the first bracket, which is 4x. We cannot deal with this guy here, right? Because if we deal with this one, it's going to disturb our equation. All right. So let me say the number that we multiply must give us 9, positive 9, meaning that it can be, because of the positive, oh yes, because of the positive here, because of this positive 9 here, is either positive, positive, or negative, negative, right? Remember that when you multiply negative by negative is positive, but when you multiply negative by positive is negative, right? Meaning that our answer of our equation is going to be both negative. Why am I saying that? Why am I saying that? Because of this negative here. The negative that is on 9 disturbs everything because there has to be positive. Alright, I will summarize this thing in a minute. Let's just finish up. So let's try to prove. So this thing is not important. Don't put it there in the equation or in the test. You are just proving. Do it aside. You're going to say 4x multiplied by x is going to give you 4x squared. Then 4x multiplied by negative 3 is going to give you negative 12x. 12x is going to give you negative 12x. Therefore, negative 3 multiplied by x. Alright, I'm coming somewhere. Negative 3 multiplied by x is going to give you negative 3x. We're having a problem now. Alright, we're having a serious problem. Alright, it's going to give you x, 3x, right? Therefore, it's going to disturb our 12 due to that. So, meaning that this equation is wrong. Not the equation, our answer is wrong. So, we are going to say, instead of these 4, let's check the constant, the common factor of 2, of 4 is 2. Then we're going to say 2x. Therefore, we're going to close bracket. Therefore, we are going to say 2x. Again, in another bracket, then we're going to close it. Why am I doing that? Because 2x multiplied by 2x is going to give us 4x squared. Alright? Only, listen, only if the coefficient of 2x is what? I don't know these numbers, what do we call them, but can be multiplied by a number to give you that number. What am I saying? Only if the coefficient of x squared, what do we call them? When you multiply some number, can give you that number. Because if we have 3 here, if we have 3, you can't multiply 3 by another number to give you 3. It's only 3 and 1, right? But if you put 6, you can multiply 2 and 6 and 2 and 3 to give you 6. You get that? Or if it's 9, you can multiply 3 by 3 to give you 9. Remember that. But you cannot, if it is 5, you cannot multiply 5 by another number to give you 5, except that 5 multiplied by 1 is 5. So, alright. Therefore, since I said that the number that we multiply has to give us 9 is 3, therefore we're going to say 3. So we have negative here, then we have 3 here, meaning we have 3 there. Okay, because this number, when you multiply by that, is going to give you positive 9, and then this guy here and this guy is going to give you positive 4x squared, and when you multiply that by that, it's going to give you, it's going to give you minus, is it minus 6? Remember that. Then 6 that minus 6 is going to give you 12. Remember that. So therefore you're going to say, because this guy is like this, you can either choose to leave it like that, or you can just say open bracket 2x minus 3 close bracket squared. You can leave it like that. So this is it for factorization. So for just for record's sake, to be 30 minutes, we can just say, let me write this equation first. You can just say 2x squared plus 7x plus 10. Right, when you factorize that, you're going to say you're going to say x, is it open bracket x that. Therefore, the number that you multiply must give you 10, and when you add that number must give you 7. What do we have? We have 2 and 5. Then, because when number that you add must give you 7, therefore meaning that we have 5 and 2. Then, because of this sign here, we have positive and positive, meaning that our answers inside our bracket we're going to have positive and positive. This is the last one. Then when you multiply that by that, just to prove, it's going to give you x squared, and x that is going to give you 5x. Then when you multiply 2 by x, it's going to give you 2x, which is 7x. Therefore, when you multiply 2 by 5, it's going to give you 10, which is the constant number. That meaning that the final answer is that x squared plus 7x plus 10. Then we have the original equation. Remember, this is from Amazing Genius Academy. If you need mentoring, you call us on 06466300.6. The number will be on the description, on the description. Okay, this is it for today.